Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Haunted Harvest. The Isle of Wight had always been a serene and picturesque place, known for its rolling hills, verdant fields, and close-knit farming community. Holly Arnold, a dedicated farmer, had lived on the island her entire life, tending to the same land her ancestors had cultivated for generations. It was a life of hard work, but one she cherished deeply, surrounded by nature's beauty and the comforting rhythms of the seasons. However, this year was different. The troubles began subtly at first: a few patches of wilted crops, some hens that stopped laying, and then a cow found dead without any apparent cause. Holly and her neighbors initially chalked it up to bad luck or the whims of nature, but as the weeks passed, the problems escalated. Fields that had always been bountiful turned barren, livestock perished mysteriously, and an unsettling sense of dread began to creep into the hearts of the villagers. Desperate for answers, Holly joined a meeting at the local church, where the farmers gathered to discuss the calamities befalling their community. Reverend Baker, a kindly old man with a deep love for the island and its people, stood at the pulpit, his face etched with concern. "But we must have faith," he urged. "These are trying times, but we cannot lose hope." Holly spoke up, her voice steady but her heart pounding. "But what if there is something unnatural at work?" Holly wasn't alone in her suspicions. The island had a long history, filled with tales of ancient rituals and forgotten pacts. There was a legend, often whispered but never spoken of openly, about a dark entity that demanded a sacrifice in exchange for a bountiful harvest. Holly's grandmother had once told her about it late at night when the fire had burned low, and shadows danced on the walls. "The land is alive," she had said, "and sometimes it asks for more than we're willing to give." Determined to uncover the truth, Holly delved into the island's history. She spent hours in the dusty archives of the local library, her fingers tracing over brittle pages filled with archaic script. The deeper she dug, the more she realized how entwined her family's history was with the island's dark past. One evening, while sifting through an old chest in her attic, Holly found a leather-bound journal belonging to her great-great-grandfather, Elias Arnold. The entries were cryptic and unsettling, filled with references to an entity known as the Harvester. According to Elias, their family had once struck a pact with this being, offering a blood sacrifice in exchange for fertile land and abundant crops. As Holly read the final entry, her blood ran cold. Elias described a ritual performed in a hidden grove deep within the woods, where a altar stood beneath an ancient oak tree. The sacrifice had ensured their prosperity, but Elias warned that the pact would demand renewal, lest the land turn against them. Armed with this knowledge, Holly knew what she had to do. She couldn't bear to let her community suffer, but neither could she condone such a monstrous act. She decided to confront the harvester herself, to negotiate or, if necessary, end the pact once and for all. On the night of the new moon, when the sky was at its darkest, Holly ventured into the woods, guided by the directions in Elias's journal. The air grew colder as she neared the grove, and an unnatural silence enveloped her. The ancient oak loomed ahead, its gnarled branches like skeletal fingers reaching out to the sky. Holly approached the altar, her heart pounding. She felt a presence, a malevolent force that seemed to seep from the very earth beneath her feet. Summoning her courage, she spoke into the darkness. "I know who you are," she said, "and I know about the pact, but I will not allow any more lives to be taken. This ends tonight for a moment." Then a voice, deep and resonant, filled the grove, echoing through the trees. "Do you dare to defy me?" The harvester's voice was filled with both amusement and anger. "The pact is eternal. The land demands its due." "No," Holly replied. "The land is sick because of you. It's time to break the cycle." The ground trembled, and a figure materialized before her. The harvester exuded an aura of ancient power, its presence suffocating. "Very well. If you will not offer a sacrifice, then you shall become one." With that, the entity lunged at Holly. Holly fought back, using the knowledge she had gleaned from Elias's journal. She recited an incantation, one that promised to sever the bond between the land and the dark entity. The words seemed to burn her throat, but she continued, her voice rising above the howling wind. The harvester shrieked in rage, its form flickering as if being torn apart. Finally, with a final, guttural cry, the entity dissipated, its essence scattered to the four winds. The grove fell silent once more, and Holly collapsed to the ground, exhausted but victorious. In the days that followed, the island slowly began to recover. The crops started to grow again, and the animals regained their health. The villagers, though unaware of the true nature of their deliverance, felt a renewed sense of hope. Holly never spoke of what transpired that night in the grove. She returned to her farm, carrying the burden of her family's past, but also the knowledge that she had broken the cycle of darkness. As the years went by, the tale of the harvester faded into legend once more, a cautionary story told around the hearth on cold winter nights. But Holly knew the truth, and she vowed to protect her land and her people, ensuring that the mistakes of the past would never be repeated. And so the Isle of Wight thrived, its fields green and its harvests plentiful, a testament to the courage and sacrifice of one woman who dared to defy the darkness. Years passed, and Holly's farm flourished under her vigilant care. The community thrived, and the island regained its reputation for producing some of the finest crops in the region. Holly married and had children, passing down the stories of resilience and courage. Yet she never revealed the true events of that fateful night in the grove. She preferred to keep the darkness buried, hoping it would never resurface. However, peace on the Isle of Wight was not destined to last forever. One summer, as Holly's children, now teenagers, helped her in the fields, an eerie unease began to settle over the island once more. The animals grew restless, and the sky often darkened with unnatural storms. Holly felt a familiar chill in the air, a whisper of the old malevolence she had banished years ago. One evening, after a particularly violent storm, Holly discovered something alarming. The ancient oak in the grove had been struck by lightning, its branches splintered and blackened. At its base, where the altar had stood, the ground was disturbed, as if something had clawed its way up from the depths. Her heart sank. She knew the harvester's influence was returning. Determined to protect her family and community, Holly began to research old rituals and protective spells, hoping to find a way to permanently seal the entity's power. She gathered her children, Emma and Jack, and explained the gravity of their situation, sharing the story of the pact and her previous confrontation. Emma, her eldest, had always been curious about their family history and was determined to help. Jack, though skeptical at first, couldn't ignore the signs around them. Together, they ventured into the grove with Holly, ready to confront whatever might await them. As they neared the grove, the air grew thick with an oppressive presence. Shadows twisted among the trees, and whispers echoed around them, taunting and malevolent. The ancient oak stood like a monument to their past struggles, its damaged form a reminder of the battle Holly had fought. "We need to perform a binding ritual," Holly explained. "We must use the oak's power to seal the harvester away for good." They arranged candles and herbs around the tree. As they began to chant, the ground trembled, and the air grew colder. The harvester's form began to materialize, more powerful and enraged than before. "You cannot defeat me," it hissed. "I am eternal. The land belongs to me." Holly, Emma, and Jack continued their incantation. The candles flickered, casting eerie shadows, but their resolve did not waver. The harvester lunged at them, its form a swirling mass of darkness, but the protective circle held firm. Suddenly, a flash of blinding light erupted from the oak, and the ground beneath them cracked open. The harvester screamed in rage as it was drawn into the fissure, its form dissipating into the earth. The oak's roots glowed with an ethereal light, binding the entity deep within the island's core. When the light faded, the grove was silent once more. The air felt lighter, the oppressive presence gone. Holly, Emma, and Jack stood in the aftermath, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. They had succeeded. The harvester was sealed away, its power broken. Life on the Isle of Wight returned to normal, the dark days becoming a distant memory. Holly's children carried this story forward, ensuring that future generations would be prepared should the darkness ever return. The island's fields remained green and prosperous, a symbol of the strength and resilience of those who had fought to protect their home. Holly knew that the land would always hold its secrets, but she had faith in her family's ability to safeguard it. Together, they had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, their bond stronger than ever. The Isle of Wight continued to thrive, a testament to the courage and determination of those who dared to defy the shadows. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had or have a great day.